Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, finds itself in the midst of a crisis. Internal wrangling and power plays are driving wedges deeper into the party. And after being on the outside of power since 2015, the PDP seems to be struggling. A number of prominent party members have been suspended, including a former Senate President, Pius Ayim, and a former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, as well as two others from the party in recent times. The governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortum, has also been referred to the party's disciplinary committee for alleged anti-party activities. And just a few hours ago, the party's embattled national chairman, Ayorchu Ayu, stepped aside after a court issued an interim injunction restraining him from parading himself as chairman. Kassim Afegbua, former PDP member and public affairs analyst, joins me now to look at what ails the PDP. Mr. Afegbua, welcome to Politics HQ. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's start with what is now the latest news in this sort of news cycle surrounding the PDP. So while the now past, or I guess outgoing, chairman of the party had described the injunction against him as an exercise in futility, just hours ago, he did step aside as the PDP's national chairman. Now, Umar Damagum, national vice chairman for North, is now the acting chairman of the party. So this comes after an ex parte application was filed against Ayu's chairmanship. Do you think he could have stayed on in defiance of the injunction, or this really was the right step to take for him and the party?
Well, I think Dr. Ayorchu Ayu has shown to be very shameless when it comes to the leadership of the party. The time he was supposed to take, a honorable position by stepping aside or stepping down from his exalted position of being national chairman after the primaries, he refused to do that. So if you don't leave the toilet arena on time, you are likely to be visited by a horned fly. That's what they say in African proverb. You see, rather than take a cue at the right time for him to step aside and allow some level of equity, fairness, and justice to play in the choice of candidates and those who presided over the campaign of the party, he stayed put. He wouldn't budge. But now he has seen that nothing is at stake any longer. The party, the elections are over. The PDP is running from pillar to.
So you were rounding up this answer in terms of he's now stepping aside after, in many people's estimation, damage has already been done to the party. Do you believe that's what it is right now? Damage has already been done under his leadership.
Damage has been done. The PDP has been decimated. I use selfish posturing and lack of strong political will to take the right decision at the right time has further, crippled the party. And so this is just, for me, this is soft landing for him because he has been the issue in the PDP after the primaries. Don't forget, for Ayu alone, 5 governors of the PDP took a walk, refusing to support the candidate of the party at the presidential election. Imagine what difference it would have made if those 5 governors were supporting Atiku. That would have made a huge difference. But I am happy. I am happy that the 5 governors actually fought Ayu. I'm also happy that Ayu refused to step down ab initio, which was like a tacit endorsement of the ruling party, the APC. I'm also happy that with Ayu's misconduct, so to speak, refusal to step down, has also helped APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win the presidency. So I will congratulate Ayu for helping the APC candidate to win this election. Imagine the votes from Rivers State, imagine the votes from Oyo State, imagine the votes from Benue State. If all those votes, all those persons were to be supporting Atiku, it would have made a huge difference.
Okay, so Mr. Afegbua, I want to take you up on 2 things from the answer you gave there. So We know that the issues surrounding IU are not just because he was chairman of the PDP at the time that the party lost the presidential election. They stem from before now, and you made a bit of mention of that. Conversations around if Atiku became president, and of course having each of the geopolitical zones represented at the party's top leadership, and that's been since he took over as the national chairman. But you mentioned, of course, the 5 governors of the G5, or who call themselves the Integrity Group. But beyond that, and we agree about the damage that his chairmanship has had for the party, what other impact do you think his leadership has had, or his possible inability to bring very critical and important figures in the party's leadership together to support Atiku Abubakar's candidacy?
I don't see any impact other than negative impact. But just like I said earlier, I am happy that he was able to bring that negative impact to bear on the party, which led to the defeat of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, deservedly so, because I said it from the one that you need to balance power algorithms, you need to balance the power equation between the North and South. When you see the governors of the APC conceding to Southern candidature within the APC, I was expecting that PDP would do a similar thing by ceding the position to Southern candidate. But they never did. And IU stayed put, showing some level of stubbornness, so to speak. And it has led to this very shameful ending. It's gone because this one they are saying that he's just stepping aside. There's nothing like stepping aside. Once there is a court injunction, they will pursue that court. In another 1 year, they will still be pursuing that court. And that will have also, so much water will have passed under the bridge before they will conclude that particular court case. But of course, his ward ESCO have shown him the way out. And in line with the constitution of the PDP, an officer, a deputy chairman from the part of the country where the chairman comes from, takes over whenever the chairman is not on seat or is not around, or he vacates his office. That's why Damagun has taken over now. The party may sit back and also do its own internal calculations and balancing, so as to make sure that the ESCO is all embracing, that every part of the country is represented as being championed by the G5 governors, and sit back to build the party, because IU was behaving more like an opposition chairman, like a chairman who was working for the opposition. And it was good that he did that, because I'm very happy that Tinubu won the election, because you can't run away from zoning of certain positions, you can't run away from balancing the equation, you can't run away from equity, fairness, and justice when you want to balance power algorithms in this country. And for an IU who felt that it was more important than the party, he saw the consequences of his stubbornness at the election, and they were trounced mercilessly.
You've emphasized now several times that you're happy that Atiku Abubakar of the PDP lost the presidential election. And I do recall that even here on Politics HQ, you said that if he did emerge as a candidate of the PDP, you would leave the party, which you did sometime last year. But people at home would think you're a long-standing member of the party. You've spoken for them. You've advocated for several things on behalf of the party. Are you happy in terms of it being a lesson, an expected lesson that you think that the PDP needs to learn right now, right here? So what lessons do you think the PDP needs to learn?
You see, not just PDP, political parties and political players must learn lesson of how to balance the power algorithms within their party, internal democracy, respecting the rules and regulations set out in their own constitution. Because in the case of PDP, there's a provision in Article 7 of the party which talks about zoning. In 2019, when all the candidates, all the aspirants came from the northern part of the country, the expectation was that in 2023, they would give opportunity to the southern part to choose a candidate. But they never did because of the vaulting ambition of their presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And I spoke so eloquently about this that you cannot run away from the fact that you need to oscillate power between North and South to build in some level of confidence in the system, to instill, a culture of inclusive participation in the way and manner that political offices are shared and all of that. But they were trying to be clever by half. jettisoning it. You see, right now, there is a clamor for South-South presidency of the Senate. And I am supporting within the APC that the South-South should be given opportunity to produce a Senate president, because we've never had it. That's one. Secondly, the South-South produced a lot of votes that helped the APC candidate to win election. So those in the Southeast who are clamoring for Senate presidency should just please understand this, because they have had 5 opportunities. We have produced time, so that give or take, people will know that yes, you are carrying them along. But if you don't do that, it will be a problem.
Okay, so what Nigerians are seeing now seems to basically be a party that is cannibalizing itself, that has turned on itself. And let's look at some of the suspensions. Notably, we've had Ayodele Fayose, former governor of Ekiti State, Pius Ayim Pius, one-time Senate president, as well as Samuel Ortum, current governor of Benue State, who's expected to face a disciplinary committee over anti-party activities. Now, some people would even ask, should we be seeing this from the party now, while its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, is in court over the presidential election? Others would say, why didn't this come earlier? And there's even a conversation as to possible names that are missing from the list of recent suspensions, including the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who is also the leader of the G5. So when it comes to these conversations around the suspensions and anti-party activity, where do you stand?
God, who is suspending who? What is a party, an opposition party that ought to galvanize itself and rally around persons and people to ensure that they maintain their stranglehold in the political system, are the ones still suspending chieftains of the party who have the capacity